All right, so first off, memory is kind of a weird thing, and I think it's something that we have to definitely be aware of. So I like learning about it, and hopefully we can apply it to our own personal practice so that we're not um, put in a situation that we find ourselves in a legal issue or anything like that. Um, Before I answer these questions, I had a couple of things happen today uh, that have made my thoughts turn to kind of how crazy the world is and the crazy things that we get involved in as therapists. Um, the first one being um, the traumatization that's happened in our nation with the shootings in Vegas that happened over the weekend. Um, Kind of some crazy stuff, and I don't think we can really um, anticipate what we come across on a daily basis, and it's kind of a scary thing. Um, as well as I had a situation come up where I heard of a former coworker of mine that just lost his job because of some unethical, inappropriate things that happen when working with a student with behavioral issues um, and restraining. And he was actually restraining in a way that wasn't appropriate, and things got out of hand. Um, and he was fired because of those things. And so, one, I think we always need to cover our backside and understand that one, the world's crazy. We can't anticipate what's going on. Um, but what we can do is we can have training and understanding and know um, how to cover ourselves. And for me, the answer of memory as well as ethical concerns is always working together as a team of people that we work with and have a good supervisor that we can trust and rely on one another to protect each other and guard each other's back, that we are doing things for the right reasons and for the right purpose. The third thing that happened to me today was I had the opportunity, I guess you could call it, is um, where a student came into my office reporting some child abuse, actually, physical child abuse that had happened over the weekend. Um, and as soon as it happened, as soon as the kids started telling me these things, I started thinking about these videos and making sure that um, my backside was covered and that I was doing things as ethically as possible. And so I think with those three things all happening today within the first few hours of starting work, um, my mind has really been pulled towards the things of making sure that I'm doing the right thing, having the right training and the right understanding of how to help people, especially with crazy situations that might occur. Um, and I'll talk a little bit more about those as I answer these questions. But comparing the two videos, I really felt that the video helped me understand the False Memory Syndrome Foundation and understanding what the issue really was all about, and understanding that this group and organization of fighting, saying that false memories are a thing, and that it's crazy that we um, make allegations towards people based off of memories. And that's one side of the argument, and then the other side of the argument is saying that mental health professionals have the right and the responsibility and obligations of saying what is going on in a person's life, and I think we need to find the middle ground between both the film and um, the foundation, and kind of figure out what's the best for the client. Um, and again, working as a team and really trying to figure things out. And I don't want to ever be placed in a situation where it's just me and my professional opinion saying this is what happened to a client, this is what they're going through. Um, because it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be up to one person making allegations or a professional witness in any way. And so that's my first thing in comparing those two things that I've learned. And then secondly, the next question of what is our role, I guess, in helping understand memory, false memory, and real memory. Um, and I think the first thing is we have to have an understanding there is always two sides to a story. Um, just because a client's coming in saying, "Hey, I was sexually abused 30 years ago," um, isn't the only side of the story. And I think we need to be aware of that and understand that there are other sides of the stories. Oftentimes, that people coming into our office aren't always the most mentally healthy individuals, and so I don't think we can always trust 100% what our clients are telling us. But we need to be cautious of those things and understanding that it takes two to tango is a mindset that we need to have as mental health professionals. The other thing is being trauma informed and having the training we need to talk about memories and if someone came to me and said, "Hey, 30 years ago this happened to me and these memories are coming to my mind because of it," I would say, "You know what, I'm not trained in that, like um, but I am trained in these types of things." And so understanding what we are trained in and being willing to tell a client that we don't have all of the answers and don't have all of the background and understanding is a very humbling thing to do, and I think we need to be aware of that, um, as well as following uh, research and best practice of memory and the things that come about, the new understanding and new knowledge that we gain from science, being able to quote the right things and being able to pull best practice out when in defending memory and the causes of memory. It's our responsibility as mental health professionals of being informed in research and in best practice. Um, and then making sure that our team, those that we work with, we're all informed on the same situation. If there's a training that you've gone to that um, you can inform and train and help other people understand the effects on trauma, on memory, and continue to spread the word. I really believe that trauma and understanding trauma and the research and the science behind it is just on this up path that we're going to continue to learn more about trauma, and trauma is never going to end. Sexual abuse is never going to end. The crazy things that we see in the world are never going to end, and I really think they're just going to continue to happen. Um, but just being aware of what we can do. Um, and then how would I work with a person that came to me talking about false accusations on sexual abuse is the one I would focus on the facts. Um, and that kind of relates to the situation that I had today of a student coming in and telling me a situation that had happened over the weekend, um, and saying that he was being abused physically. Um, I knew that the law states that there has to be marks left on before we can make accusations towards physical abuse happening in the home. And so he talked about having bruises, and I quietly asked him and said, "I want a second person in here," and I invited a person on my team to come in and to talk and address with this student. And so together, making sure that I wasn't left alone in a room with a student taking off his shirt, but there was a second adult in there, and sure enough, there was proof, there was facts that something was happening, and so I reported it. And then at that point, there's not a lot left that I could do. CPS ended up coming to our school and making their judgment call. And so I think putting things in the right people's hands to handle situations is a very important thing. Um, and I think just as CPS has and the laws that um, there has to be marks, I think there needs to be some type of ruling and laws to help us understand what facts, besides just memory, what facts can help prove a situation. If there needs to be an investigation in the background um, on the person um, that is being accused, I think there needs to be more facts than just a memory. Um, and understanding that me as a social worker, I don't I don't gather those facts. Those facts are gathered by other professionals, and so collaborating and working with other professionals to make sure that all the facts are in line um, is the right thing to do. And then lastly, the last thing that significant takeaways is I kept thinking about the thoughts, if neurons fire together, they wire together. Um, in my opinion, and I guess my question is, shouldn't we be able to see that in some type of MRI or brain scan to help us see that those wires are being wired together? And if that's the case, I think with technology and the advancements of trauma and the studies of trauma, I hope that um, we can scan the brain and say, okay, is the brain telling us? Are there facts? Is there evidence that besides the memory that you have, does your brain have any um, reasons for us to believe that there was trauma in your life? Um, and I don't know, maybe with time and maybe with more research and understanding, we can be able to pinpoint um, in the brain where that sexual abuse or physical abuse, those allegations are coming from. And so I guess the last significant takeaway is that um, with time, as old as that video was, I think with time, we're going to continue to learn more and more about trauma and how to, one, protect ourselves as mental health professionals, but to be able to truly understand where trauma is happening within the brain and what we can do to help rewire the brain that's been wired the way that it is based off from trauma. So that's my thoughts. Sorry it was long. Thanks for watching.